Now, when it comes to fixed blades, I'm always on the lookout for the collision of capability. If a fixed blade can be used on a camp out and do woodscraft and camp tasks, but then when we come home from that trip, I can put it on a battle belt, go bag, and it can be used in self-defense, heavy-duty utility roles, I immediately get excited and gravitate to that design. And when it comes to Reiff knives, they've always been kind of in the camping bushcraft arena until now with the introduction of the VICON fixed blade. What on earth? Guys, as soon as I saw the initial imagery, I was over the moon. I was like, this is going to be a banger. And in today's video, we're going to be thumping on this blade. Check it out. We have the potential. I love the fuller right there. We got a little bit of swedging. We got grind angles that potentially can be used in multiple roles. And then we got super deep guards, ribbed handle scales, full grip for piercing and slashing, but also to be able to do chest lever grips and contouring and potentially maybe carve a wood spirit. We're going to find out while we're on a camp out and so much more. So we're going to have some fun diving into so many new features and attributes of this very impressive deviation from what we know about Reiff knives, and we're going to find out how it stacks up to competitive options and just have a blast. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in. All right, what are we working with spec-wise on this blade? Well, from handle to tip, we're looking at 5.19 inches. We're looking at a stock thickness of 3/16 on a high flat grind, and it's gonna weigh 9.8 ounces before the sheath. Now, unlike most combat knives, you're gonna get about a 1-inch 90-degree spine that's nice and sharp right there for scraping and launches sparks off your fire steel like a flamethrower. So if you needed to start a fire in a pinch, you absolutely could. Now, most combat knives are designed for stabbing and prying and don't have a lot of finesse. But does this break that mold? Got to go through some toe straps, seatbelt, that type of stuff. One push, let's go. Boom, one push. When you don't have to saw, and that's after all of that wear. Using it a freaking ton, so this is not like factory. Oh yeah, this is after use, baby. Please, don't take my finger. No! Right through leather. So obviously in an evasion situation, you're not going to be making feather sticks probably for a fire because you don't want to be alerting where your presence is unless it's to get picked up and rescued. But hey, we're just average Joes here wanting to go on a camp out, right? Well, look at that. Oh my gosh, Goldilocks curly cues, dude. Right there. Guidance system engaged for feather sticks. What in the freaking world is happening here? Just look at it. The last breath of Mrs. GT's old yoga mat. Doink. Dude. Okay, that shows the precision of that grind. And it's not all, you know, all getting all mushed up. I mean, that's sawing almost like a full flat grind, but we obviously have way better durability. Let's say right there. That's where it starts to taper and then will become uncomfortable to work. So 2/3 of the way up, you can put your thumb, get pressure, carve like this, no problem. But that last inch, inch and a half where the swedge really begins, you're not going to enjoy putting your thumb all the way up here. You're just not going to want to do that. Right there. Boom. All right, the mailman brings that package and you want to tactically deploy the contents. Watch your fingers. And watch that tip. Dude. 1, 2, 3. Come on. 4. 5. Oh yeah, baby. Ooh la la. Owie, those are gonna hurt. Let's see how thin I can go. All right, come on. Right there. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's see-through, baby. All right, what if we got to set up a tripwire or snare and our multi-tool is nowhere to be found? Let's see what this Magnacut will do. Right there. One, can we cut it? And two, what it will do to the blade. There you go. Okay. I can't see any visible damage. All right, this is after everything. All the testing, the wire, everything. Let's just see if we got any issues. Dude, I'm trying to stroke the entire blade. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So the answer is yes, there is a level of precision and finer cutting that this knife offers that a lot of other combat knives I own can't do because of the thinner edge and higher grind than what you sometimes find, and they are able to do that because they chose to use Magnacut steel. Now I'm a little on the fence because they chose a Rockwell of 60 to 62 HRC, leaning more towards durability than wear resistance. Now, I give Benchmade a really hard time about that same Rockwell on their Magnacut, especially on their pocket knives and precision compact fixed blades like this, because when we're looking at a tool that is more about finesse and precision like this, we know that 62 to 64 on Magnacut, it can work all day. We get better wear resistance and we don't really lose that much toughness. Now, on this blade, I understand a little bit more leaning because of the intended stabbing, piercing, prying, all the things that you're going to do with this. But to be honest, I think that they could have easily gotten away with what they do with their smaller fixed blades, like the Circadian, which is 61 to 63 on the Magnacut. It would have just bumped up the wear resistance just a little bit. Is the average Joe going to notice a difference between like a Benchmade 60 to 62 and 61 to 63? No, of course not. It's just knowing what is possible, and I think because of the stock thickness and just grind geometry, they could have bumped it up just a hair, giving us just a little bit more wear resistance. Leave a comment what you think. Are you glad they went with 60 to 62, or do you think that you like to see a little bit higher HRC when it comes to Magnacut on bigger, more brute force focused blades? Now, how about the Kydex sheath redesign? And my understanding is that this design you see here, they are going to be transitioning to across the Reiff line. So eventually all knives are going to look like this when it comes to the Kydex sheath, and I think it is a massive improvement. I was never a massive fan of the original Kydex. The taco design, it's got kind of a belt clip. It got the job done, but it wasn't ambidextrous, so you had to choose orientations. There was a lot there that I just wasn't as big a fan of. This, we have pancake design, moly lock, Bladehq lock compatible, everything you want. It's going to have a thumb ramp for this particular model, perfect for high-speed deployment, defensive rolls, clicks in, super solid. It's not going anywhere. It's got a tension screw right there. It's got a little bit of rattle at my tension point, but obviously you can screw that down, tighten it up a little bit. And then the best part, we have ambidextrous offset of Kydex with a belt clip right there, but you can remove the belt clip, and then it has holes for Bladehq locks, moly locks, whatever you want to put on there. So I think this is a massive improvement over the old Kydex, and I'm glad to see this knife, but also hearing that their legacy models are also going to be sporting this in the future. But leave a comment below. What do you think about this Kydex versus their original? Now, this is a Reiff knife, which is top tier, and they've proven that over the last several years. So you're getting what you pay for, but that means you're gonna pay for it. And I'm not here to downplay the cost. This knife starts at $420, which will put any knife lover on pause for a second, go, hold on a second. Is this really gonna check the box on what I need? And for many of us, the KABAR HARSEY Fighter, USA made, 1095, great blade is going to be more than enough in this category because I can get 3 of these for the cost of one of those VICONs. But every one of us has a lane where we're willing to spend more to get the best. For some of you, you love watches and you'll spend thousands to get that particular timepiece that you're in love with, but at the end of the day, it's still going to tell time just like that $20 Casio. For others, it might be musical instruments. You'll shell out top dollar to get a guitar with the right pickups and color combos and who made it, because you can tell a difference in the tone compared to that budget option where the average Joe is never gonna know a difference. And so for those knife lovers who chase top tier blades, you're gonna notice the performance difference between this and something like this. And it's funny, when Reiff Knives first came onto the scene, I was like, man, you guys are in like Bark River and Spartan Blades territory. Are you really gonna be able to stand toe to toe with those companies? But they've proven themselves over the years to be able to compete and then some. As an example, I was just looking at a Spartan Blades Moros, very similar kind of combat crossover utility blade, and that is sporting S45VN, USA made, Rockwell 59 to 61, and that's 400 to 425, right there in that price range. And I'll take this Magnacut over S45VN any day of the week on this type of blade. And so all the link popping up as well as in the description box below over to the Reiff Knives website as well as with the other distributors that carry this blade. I know there are still a few in stock, but they are going quick. Now, Reiff Knives does not pay or sponsor the content in this video in any way, shape, or form. I just have those affiliate links and they sent me that sample. That's it. And leave a comment below on what type of knife lover you are. Now, the handle on a dual purpose fixed blade has got to be dialed in. So is it? Well, if you know anything about Reiff Knives, you know that they do excellent work when it comes to contouring and girth on any handle, and that is no exception on this knife. It is super girthy, big and full. Look at how much real estate I have with my large size hands, 3 1/4 knuckle span from knuckle to knuckle. That is tons of real estate. It's fat, it's got palm swells, tapers on the back, flares back out just a little bit. Deep guard, fat neck. This is what's great, is that because of that deep guard and actually like sweeps back at an angle ever so slightly, that means that you have excellent grip, and then you have a shelf right here with some jimping. Boom! You're gonna get maximum power in that piercing reverse grip. Even in stab, thrust, you're gonna be locked in, you're not gonna accidentally slide up, and you have blocky jimping right here just to give you a little bit extra to grab onto. And the benefit when we transition over to bushcraft is because the ribbing is there, but it's very light ribbing, didn't create a hot spot, because they have fully encapsulated the guard. Exposed metal guards are always going to be more uncomfortable than when they're encapsulated. Because it's fully encapsulated there, you can choke up, the edge is close, we can do woodworking, the jimping, because it's blocky right there, I can put my thumb, it didn't feel hot, I can put lots of pressure, it's not uncomfortable, but gives me a little bit of a tactile feel. You can put your thumb right against that shoulder right there if you want to do that. And then on the back here, it flares out just a little bit and flares this way because of this exposed glass breaker. So non-lethals and glass breaking, ready to rock and roll. Not ideal probably for hammering in, tent peg, and depending on how much chopping you're doing, you may feel some vibration and shock because it's not fully encapsulated back there. So it's a trade-off of impact and more tactical application. You can still do some light hacking. It wasn't unbearable by any means, but there's more of a shock point because it's just thinner and it's exposed metal versus if it was fully encapsulated. So to button it all up, obviously, if I'm going just camping, that's all I want my blade to do, something like the F5 is probably the better choice. It's got a higher grind, less transitional points, and will be more comfortable for extended cutting tasks in the outdoors. But if I'm looking for top tier combat utility that can be used on a camp out for basic woodworking as well, you're going to be hard pressed to find something that is on the same level or surpasses what the VICON brings to the table. So that's where I sit with the blade. Let me know what you guys think about this knife, especially if you own one. How has it been performing for you? I appreciate you guys spending the time with me. I hope it's answered the questions that you have about this design and scratch that blade addiction itch. I invite you to check out the other video and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.